We now come to the third and last session of this important chapter, chapter 8, in which we shall cover one of the examples as to how a QCBBC method is calculated, what are the change management issues that are put into such a high-tech project, the security issues, IPR, and the indigenous content issues. To illustrate the calculation of the QPBS, the technical evaluation is done out of a maximum of 100 points. And in the RFP, it is laid down as to what is the minimum technical score to be attained so as to get on to the next stage of the financial evaluation. Now in this, the four vendors got 75, 80, 90, 65 technical evaluation. The D vendor, which got 65, is eliminated because you not achieved the minimum technical score of 75. And the balance of the three vendors, rank 1, 2, and 3, with their respective scores, would move on to the financial evaluation stage. The formula for that is given, which was explained earlier. In this, the B vendor had the lowest bid. So he's given an award of 100. The rest of the two vendors which came in will be given a relationship to the bid by the Bravo vendor. So A having a bid of 120 would give him 83 points. C having a bid of 110 would be given 91 points. The financial combined score would be a weightage of 60% to the technical score and 40% to the finance score. This would lead as a working out to 78.2 for A, 88 for B, and 90.4 for C. In this case, the C vendor becomes H1 based on his technical and financial score, and he is invited for negotiation. For such projects having long gestation periods and their complex technology changes at a very rapid stage, there is an essential requirement of having a team looking at change management, both during the process of the complete evaluation as also after the contract is given. Therefore, an empowered committee for change control, ECCC, is established. It is basically meant to examine, evaluate, review changes during project execution phase, deviation as mid-course corrections, upgradation in the life cycle, after the finalization of contract, as well as while the process was going on. It is headed for projects greater than 1000 crores by a Lieutenant General equivalent, and for projects less than 1000 crores by a Major General equivalent, with members of one rank oblique grade lower from the user, the CD directorate, the planning directorate, the financial advisor oblique his advisor. Now the path for approval for each change oblique the cumulative value for the service headquarter can give approval for 15% of the cost of the software oblique hardware of the ICT projects. For system projects, they can give an approval of up to 10%. Beyond 15 and 10% respectively, you have to go back to the CFA, the competent financial authority, which gave the UN for taking the approval. Now, supply of higher specification products due to the non-availability of the same specification is allowed, provided there is a certification from the vendor that the product has been upgraded and there is no addition to reduction in prices. I'll give you an example. A simulator was being made, and the screen at the time of making the RFP was a CRT screen. By the time it came into being of doing the production, the vendor came back and that, look, even for the whatever money it is, a CRT screen is no longer available in the market. Therefore, an LED screen can be provided at the same cost at which the CRT screen was being done. A committee had to be formed to look into the fact that the cost that was evaluated for the CRT screen has not come down in the LED screen at all, or no. Having ascertained that, he was allowed with the change in prices, in fact a downward trend in prices from the CRT screen. Therefore, such change management takes place through the empowered committee for change control. For ICT systems, malicious code, malware may disrupt the systems at the critical juncture. They can also provide a backdoor entry for the leakage of information from the system. And therefore, information security guidelines become extremely important for such projects. Now, the security measures that have been put in, firstly, the control of the firmware, which is the intelligence installed in the IT components, is required. That is the controller cards, hard disk, etc., and it is laid down. The OEM certifies that the product do not have malicious code embedded in them when the products are dispatched. And the vendor is responsible to the MOD during installation, warranty, and support complete period to mitigate all risks that may come in. Supplier takes the undertaking from the OEM that no backdoor entry, kill switches in the firmware intentionally or unintentionally have been left. Certificate by the seller that all security issues and malware have been addressed. All details of active components in the equipment with their origins are provided by the bidder. We do not want any active component to come up with not too friendly countries. And they are verified in the acceptance procedure. Patch level updates are catered for. Undertaking to deal with any security issue that emerges during the system operation phase during its life cycle undertaking is taken, and malicious code certificate along with list of tests conducted by the OEM or accredited certification agency with the result is taken. Now, what are the type of components in it? The inert components have no electronic circuitry. They are not a problem at all. Passive. They have electronic circuitry but no intelligence. Active. These are device specific intelligence, and therefore in the preceding slide you found that active components have got a special clause for security measures, and they're highly active components also which have got a high level of intelligence up to the level of AI. Certain important clauses for indigenous content. For ICT projects, information communication technology projects, the IC content is a minimum of 10% higher than for any other products. We saw the make and the buy and make procedures in which the indigenous content was given 50 and 60%. Now in this, it is 10% higher than that. For system products, these IC contents need not be applied. That is, the higher IC content need not be applied. Also, where the main deliverable software of the ICT and system projects, such as embedded software, system control solution algorithms, front-end applications have been developed indigenously, the 10% extra may not be applied. Also, in case it is not feasible to develop them, it is brought out in the statement of case for the AON and specific approval is taken not to apply the 10% extra. Software, a self-certification by the bidder with certification by the statutory auditor of the bidder is required. Also, when the acquisition of the proprietary software with sole IPR custody is with the vendor providing it, it is considered as indigenous, given that the ownership of the software is with the bidder throughout the contract period. So therefore, the IC content he has been able to achieve, though he may have bought the software from someone else, but he's got sole IPR custody throughout the contract period. What is this IPR? Normally, the expenditure for the development of the foreground software is borne by the buyer, and therefore it belongs to the buyer. Now, this is specified in the clause in the RFP. If the software is not a deliverable, the seller retains the IPR and gives a licensed use as chargeable to the buyer. IPR with any one of the services, it could be with anyone, Navy, Army, Air Force, Coast Guards, anybody. It is considered a joint holding. That means the other service that is going in for the particular product will also have a joint holding of the IPR. Upgradation is periodically evaluated, the scope is finalized, And this upgradation is taken up if not done with the project itself. The clause with the project itself, it could be done so. It can be taken up through the other capital procurement procedures, or if it is there, then through this chapter itself when included into the RFP. Fresh acceptance of necessity for upgradation based on financial power provisions are also available. Gentlemen, we just come to the end of a very important chapter, chapter 8, which talks about the ICT systems, information communication technology systems. Now, the issue comes in is that in this chapter, the quality come cost based selection criteria, instead of a simple L1 lowest bid criteria, has been applied. It's a very good system in which you get the necessary weightage, 60% to the technical and 40% to the financial, and possibly get the best product while being financially prudent. Why can't this kind of a system be applied to all procurement of the Indian military? In my view, it should be able to do so. Let's have a look at the problem to understand the problem. A matrix has to be made, certain attributes have to be put, and certain weightages to each attribute in the technical portion would require to be put. What would these weightages be? Now, that is what I called initially as the price indexing of technology. How much of weightage, or it gets converted into price, to put for that particular attribute technology. Let's have a look at tank ammunition. Tank ammunition would have various attributes. It would have what is the accuracy of it, what's the dispersion of it, what's the muzzle velocity, what's the velocity of that munition, what range can it go to, etc. I mean, there would be innumerable amount of attributes. Now, each one of the attribute would have to be given a weightage. You want accuracy to have a better weightage. You want range to have a better weightage. So all these aspects would come into being. If you take a system of system, let's take the tank. It would have communications, it would have tank gun, it would have your vision devices, it would have munitions, it would have armor, it would have n number of things. Independent suspensions, kind of suspension, the speed, the etc. Now, all of them would have, each one of the factors would have its own weightage, each attribute. And each attribute of them would have weightages. Countless number of attributes are that are there. I'm speaking from personal experience. I was the secretary to the project management team for the FICV, the first expression of interest. Now, it had to be put into a matrix in which there were number amount of attributes that had to be done, n number of attributes. And for this, you had to decide that what was more important than the other. The project management team had to do it, obviously, with inputs from the environment. It is a complex process because at that time when it was done, it was not supported by a computer software which was based on a database. Now it becomes difficult to determine the weightages to each one of the attribute because the kind of difference of opinions that may percolate in the subject matter, all from various experts and all very correct in the approach. The matter can be sorted out by virtue of having a vast database over a period, a number of years, which has been put into an application which can be orchestrated to various environmental conditions, various operational conditions, various terrain conditions, etc., to work out what is best in terms of the quality of or each one of the attributes that you require, and what is better, what is more required than the other. The weightages are thereafter would be computerized based on an AI platform, artificial intelligence platform, and these weightages would determine, obviously screened by humans, as to what the matrix would be. It would be a simplified process of applying such quality and cost-based systems onto all major procurement, irrespective of whether they were ICT or any other system that was there, of system. I think that is required in the Indian military. We need to grow. We need to have this database. We don't have it presently in a kind of fashion in which it can be collated. We need to have an application which is artificially intelligence enabled, and we need to go ahead with the system in a very firm way, setting aside all concerns of various types that may be. Is the way to go forward in case we want a technologically advanced product at prudent cost. Now, in the next session, we shall get on to chapter 4. And chapter 4 is another very important thing. It is loosely called as emergency procurement. It is actually termed as a fast track procedure. It's an important thing. A large volume of procurement has taken place through this process. A lot of questions have been asked why can't all procurement takes place as emergency procurement. But we need to have a look at it. We need to have to see as to where we can go in this and what we need to do to make it more useful in terms of going through. It's a good procedure, very good procedure, and which has led to equipment availability in the Indian Army at the time of crisis. Thank you so very much for a nice listening. Till such time, we come to the next chapter. Good day. My sessions, which I've taken of the various chapters of DAP 2020, are available on YouTube, on my Google blog, Knowledge Enabler Defense Procurement, as well as on my LinkedIn account. I'm also broadcasting to anyone who wants to receive this message with the video into the WhatsApp inbox. In case you're not receiving it, and should you want to do so, please just send me want to receive on the mobile number given on the slide. I will only send DAP sessions and nothing else. Do subscribe to my Google blog. It's free, and further disseminate these videos to all that who require it and can take maximum benefit from it. Please do also like my sessions. It shall be encouraging for me. Thank you so very much.